This is Ricky Burns, and you're watching Sport and Icons.
Okay, so I've done a post here on YouTube in the community section for George Kambosos Jr. Looks like he could well be fighting Vasiliy Lomachenko next. Now, of course, this follows on as well from the WBO. They've ordered George Kambosos Jr. to defend his WBO against Vasiliy Lomachenko. And with that, of course, will come the other belts as well. Now, my immediate reaction is, cool, good fight. I'll be very up for watching that fight. But of course, there's other storylines that go with it, I suppose. Firstly, is he defending the undisputed belts? Or is he defending the unified belts? I suppose the best way to settle it is him and Devin Haney get it on. Apparently, Eddie Hearn has said that whatever deal Bob Arum is offering George Kambosos Jr. and Lou DiBella for the Vasiliy Lomachenko fight will match it. So there's an option there, of course. Settle the undisputed argument. Settle it. Is he undisputed or isn't he? Don't really matter. How about you two get in the ring and let's find out? So there is always that storyline as well. I suppose the other one is that George Kambosos Jr. is saying that he wants to have his first defence of his world titles in Australia. There's talks that the fight with Vasiliy Lomachenko could be happening in America first. And if George Kambosos Jr. was to lose this fight, then have the rematch in Australia. Now, of course, nothing is confirmed. There's no contract signed that I'm aware of right now to say that George Kambosos Jr. versus Vasiliy Lomachenko will be next. Nothing is signed or anything like that, even though the WBO have ordered it. So it does seem that George Kambosos Jr. has only two options now. Either you fight Lomachenko as per ordered, or you get stripped of the WBO, or maybe fight Devin Haney in a unification/undisputed fight. Now, I don't know why I've seen on social media that people are saying for George Kambosos Jr. to be fighting Vasiliy Lomachenko, that's ducking Devin Haney. Now, apparently it's coming from some channels. This is probably coming from some channels that I don't watch. Okay, so I don't know if any of that's true. But for anybody who thinks that he's ducking Devin Haney to fight Lomachenko, I don't really know where you're coming from. I don't. Now, nothing wrong with rating Devin Haney. Maybe Devin Haney could legitimately beat Vasiliy Lomachenko. Maybe he could beat Teofimo Lopez. Maybe he can beat George Kambosos Jr. Maybe he can beat Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis and everybody else go with it. Maybe, but we haven't seen it yet. So that is pure speculation right now. His resume ain't all that. Devin Haney's resume ain't all that at all. Lomachenko's resume is pretty good. In fact, it's very good. He does have two losses, of course. One was very, very early on in his career. And, of course, quite recently against Teofimo Lopez, where, again, it was an arguable decision. It was a very, very close fight. It was very close. To the point it was Teofimo Lopez first half, Vasiliy Lomachenko second half. So, arguably, could it have been a draw? Maybe. I don't think too many people would have complained had it been so. But, either way, Teofimo Lopez, he gets to win. Defends the belts, eventually, against George Kambosos Jr. Loses. Now, to fight Vasiliy Lomachenko, in my opinion, is far more risky than it is to fight Devin Haney. If Devin Haney was to, for example, go to Australia and fight George Kambosos Jr., in my opinion, because Devin Haney doesn't really carry that big knockout power, he could be in trouble. Home cooking, all that kind of thing. And I'm not saying that it just happens in Australia and it's a bad place, people shouldn't go there. No, it happens here in the UK, it happens in America, it happens all over the world, okay? But that's my point. There's very little risk of George Kambosos Jr. getting knocked out by Devin Haney. Very little. So if it goes to the scorecards, as long as the fight's pretty competitive, George Kambosos Jr. will and probably should get the win. I'll say should, as far as the judges are concerned. Him fighting Vasiliy Lomachenko, there's a high possibility he could get knocked out. He could. Vasiliy Lomachenko has the skills and the movement to pretty much take it out of the hands of the judges. Even if it went to points, Vasiliy Lomachenko has the ability to pretty much take George Kambosos Jr. to school. I'm not saying that is what's going to happen. I'm saying between Devin Haney and Vasiliy Lomachenko, Lomachenko has more chance of doing that to George Kambosos Jr. than Devin Haney does. I don't think Devin Haney could make it so wide, so obvious that he won that fight, even without the knockout. So, in my opinion, it's far more risky to be fighting Lomachenko. And I have seen some people, based on that poll, saying it's a cash out. He's pretty much selling his belts to Lomachenko. But if Eddie Hearn is saying, well, fight Devin Haney for the same money, it's not really a cash out, is it? And let's be honest, to have Lomachenko in your resume is far more impressive currently than to have Devin Haney. Now, eventually, maybe Devin Haney will prove himself to be the best of the best. Maybe a pound-for-pound fighter, maybe the greatest of all time. We never know. It's very early on in his career. Of course, he's still very young, even though he has had quite a few fights already. And I do rate him, but I don't think he's as good as Lomachenko. For legacy purposes, currently, Lomachenko is the one. But financially, they're both even. To settle the undisputed fight, undisputed argument even, then you should have the undisputed fight with Devin Haney. So I can't hate on either situation. I really can't. I understand some people would prefer to see the Devin Haney fight. It settles the argument of undisputed. But at the same time, him fighting Lomachenko, you have to give him a lot of respect. But at the same time, it has been ordered, so it's not like he really has a choice. Unless, of course, maybe he's playing off Eddie Hearn right now, and Lou DiBella is as well. Of course, Lou DiBella's been around for like donkey's years, where he could just be playing Eddie Hearn to say, well, now we have no choice. We have to fight Vasiliy Lomachenko. This is the kind of money we're getting. Hint, hint. Maybe offer a little bit more, and we'll fight Devin Haney in what most people would agree, a far less risky fight. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.